You know what's crazy? How tall are you?
5'6".
Hold on, stand up real quick.
Why?
Okay.
You're not that tall.
Because I went to the doctor the other day and this
I'm
lady.
actually 5'5" and a half.
Huh?
I'm actually 5'5" and a half.
Okay.
Probably 5'6" with shoes on.
Because I went to the doctor the other day and the nurse or whoever, the one that was helping me, she got my weight and then she got my like height and she was like she's like 5'9" or something like that, and I was like,
No.
Well, I'm 6 foot, but so like I'm starting to walk into the room and I was like, you know what? Can we just? I was like, I was like, that's not right. Like I just want to, and she did it again and it said 5'9". I'm like, bro, I am not 5'9". Like,
You're not 6 foot.
I'm not. I am.
I don't think so. I would say like 5'10" and a half.
Hell no. Is this recording?
Okay,
It is recording.
yes.
No, don't.
We'll see. I have a measuring tape we can look at when we're done.
Okay. Damn, I don't know if I want
You can be 6 foot if you want to identify as that.
I definitely am.
Okay.
Oh, shit. Well,
Okay. Cheers.
cheers.
Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh,
Welcome back, everybody, to That's What He Said. This is Israel Rodriguez. Do you go by Izzy or Israel?
both, whatever. I feel like when I introduce myself, it's like Israel.
Israel?
People who just decide to call me Izzy, it's whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Israel, Izzy. And we're here today for an interview with the topic question of, does size matter? And when we say size, we're talking about the size of the bank account. But before we get into that, we're going to do a little introduction. So tell us about yourself. Where are you from? What do you do?
I am from Houston, Texas, born and raised. I am a full-time artist, and I guess, would it be serial entrepreneur at this point? I have 2 Airbnbs. I just started another brand, a new brand that's going to be kind of like a little bit of everything. It's called 1988, etc. So
Like clothing and stuff, right?
clothing, merch, accessories like hats and stuff like that.
Where did you get that name from?
So honestly, I was going back and forth for a long time. I was trying to figure out so I didn't want it to be anything like, really to be associated with my art.
Okay.
I wanted it to be completely separate.
Separate brand.
So like, my art page is artwork. I didn't want it to be anything close to that. And so I was trying to just figure out a completely different name. And then 1988 is when I was born.
Okay.
And then the etc.
So
kind of
you're
just
35? Okay.
36 in November.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I want to do like home decor and planters and all this that I like. Yeah,
Okay.
it's gonna be, and that's why I did the whole etc. thing, because it's gonna be a bunch of different random.
Cool.
And I don't want to have to explain myself. It's just like,
Yeah.
oh, this guy like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Candles.
And how would you describe your art?
Like modern pop art. I would say it's mainly portraits. I mean, it's kind of what I'm like recognized for.
Yeah.
But I've started to do a lot of different throughout the years. I've done a lot of different stuff. Like I got recognized when I first started for the hearts, the anatomical hearts that I used to do.
Okay.
And then I kind of like went into portraits, and then those popped off, and then the like women figures too. So.
Yes, yeah. What's your favorite piece you've ever done?
My latest, actually, the Biggie on the car hood. Have you seen it?
Oh,
On the wrecked car
with
hood?
the trash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my favorite. It's
Okay.
sick.
Okay, I will link his art page so y'all can check it out, his Instagram. It really is pretty cool. I purchased some art several years ago before he was popular, or just a little bit popular. So I can say I'm an OG.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I was barely getting started, full time at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Super admirable. And you're from Houston. What's your relationship status?
Single.
Currently. Single. That was quick.
I didn't have to think about it.
Single and what? Looking, not looking, dating?
I don't know. It's like, I don't want to like So after this recent breakup, so like before,
Which was when?
like when did we break up? 20, was it 22?
Okay, so it's been over a year.
November, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I used to always like, I was bad at this because I'm like a hopeless romantic. So like I like see someone who's attractive and we start talking, like conversing or whatever, and then I'm like, I feel like I'm pretty easy to talk to, and so like even if they're difficult, I kind of make it like to where I ask a question or kind of keep the combo going, you know?
Yeah.
And so like I like avoided, I wouldn't say red flags, but things that I would just force it almost, you know, because I was like, she's super attractive, like this is the one, you know what I mean, or some
You made up a story in your
yeah,
head. Of
yeah,
like,
and so like I don't know, I would always do that, and 9 times out of 10, you know, I would stick to that one person, and you know, I didn't really explore, like, you know, it was kind of like I'm single, first person I meet that I feel like has some sort of potential, that's the one. So like this time around, I just basically just learned to not do that. Like I told myself, I don't care if I meet someone who like hits every check mark, you know, and like every box, like I am not gonna date them. Like I need to be single.
Why do you say you need to be single?
Cause you know, I'm currently like super selfish with my time. Like I work a lot. All I do is work, you know, and with my last girlfriend, she was really cool with how much I worked, but at the end of the day, I always end up feeling guilty because like I know that I'm in a relationship and I should be dedicating time to her and for us to be doing things and stuff like that. And like I would, but at the same time, it's like, all right, when we're done, I'm gonna go to work. Like I'm gonna keep working. You know what I mean? And it was just so like I just knew that it wasn't time for me to like be committed to someone.
Yeah.
You know, I needed like, I don't know if I feel like it's just in me to like, I love my job, you know, and I love like everything about that and just growing my business. So it's like, I think when I maybe do meet the right person, I'll want to like chill out some.
Yeah, because that's like where your passion is. So I hate that saying, but like maybe when you do meet the right person, like you'll be so passionate about her that you'll actually have the desire to like scale back from work a little bit.
Yeah. But I also think it's for me it's you know, I feel like I want to make enough money to where I can actually chill too.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like that's one of the biggest reasons.
We're here to talk about money today, so.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest reasons why, like, you know, I started doing the Airbnbs and stuff like that. That way, like, I won't have to stress about constantly putting artwork out there, selling artwork, getting commissions and stuff like that. That way, like, if I want to chill, I can. But
yeah.
Yeah.
So you've had, like, it sounds like you're saying you've had like several relationships, or like, what's your dating history before this most recent ex? Like your relationship guy, or?
Not really. No. Well, I mean, I guess kind of. I don't know. I was always kind of like just talking to someone at least.
Okay.
You know, just like. But the relationship before that, it was actually terrible.
It
was bad. That's a whole story.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Like toxic?
Like I knew her for like, I don't know, what, like 8 to 10 years, 9 years, something like that.
Okay.
We like originally, she was a bartender. Originally, like I had asked her for her number and we texted for a little bit, but it didn't go anywhere. And then like we had each other on social media, and like throughout the whole time until we actually reconnected, she was always in long-term relationships, maybe like 3. So throughout the like 10 years, let's say, it was like 3 long relationships. And we ended up hanging out when she became single. She was engaged, actually. She was engaged.
When you hung out?
No. She hit me up after, like on social media, I saw that she got engaged.
And then
yeah. So I think I think she like deleted her Instagram. Either that or she deleted me or some. I don't know. But I didn't see her stuff anymore. But at the same time, I was like, whatever. It's like, you know, she's about to be married, whatever. But I get a friend request from her, like a follow. And I'm like, I already know what that means. You know? And so I
call that slithering. They slither back in.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely a snake.
Yeah.
I followed her back, and sure enough, like, I don't know, maybe like a couple days later, she like starts responding to my stories and like that. Mm-hmm. And I always had a thing for this girl. Like, I know like
She's hot.
The people who watch this are probably gonna disagree. I thought she was attractive. Whatever, it's probably just
I mean, your perception's your reality. Everyone's different.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, but I don't know. I was probably just stuck in like the years back when I first like saw her. I don't know. She was a pretty girl. I mean, whatever, but yeah, so we ended up hanging out, and we ended up dating like right away almost. She asked me to be with her. Like I was like out of town, and I posted a picture with one of my friends, and I guess she got a little jealous, and she was like, "If I felt weird when I saw that photo," and she was like, "Can we just like be official?" And I was like, "Sure." So we.
Wait. Okay, so I want to know what you thought in that moment, because we had a whole discussion on the show previously that girls should not initiate like the "what are we" conversation, and that it's like.
Well, it was a first. It was a first for me.
It obviously didn't turn you off.
No, honestly, it didn't turn me off. I think for the main reason because I was just like, I had been waiting for my moment to be with this girl. Like, it was, like, I had liked her for a long time.
Okay.
So it was kind of like, finally. Like, it felt, like, not real. Like, I was like, I never thought I was actually going to date this girl.
Okay.
So,
maybe that's a little different.
Yeah. So, anyway, so, like, I was in Austin, and I was just like, yeah. And I remember I was playing beer pong, and I was like, I think I just got a girlfriend. Like, I was like, what the And my friends were like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, I don't know."
That's funny.
And so I get home, and you know, we start doing the boyfriend girlfriend thing, and she like basically moves in. And long story short, so get this. So we didn't date for long. It was literally like a little over 3 months. We get in this fight. She had gotten her boobs done. Whatever. I don't give a shit. She sees this. I don't like her anyways. She got her boobs done, and we get in this argument because I was working, like, and mind you, in the house I was already painting, you know, full time. I had just become full time, like 3 or 4 months.
Okay.
You know? And I'm sitting there, you know, in the dining room, like she's in my bedroom, like bed rest, like chilling, and she was like, "Well, why do you can't come in here?" I'm like, "Dude, I gotta work. Like I just became full time. Like I gotta
hustle."
You know. And I was like, why don't you just go to your sister's? Like, she's like not working right now, or she works from home. I don't remember what it was, but she took it the wrong way. She thought I wanted her to leave.
Oh.
Took it the wrong way. We got in an argument about it, and she ended up going. And anyways, after that, we like texted for a little bit, but then like 3 or 4 days later, I woke up and I felt like super like weird, like something was off. And I texted her and I was like, "Hey, are we good?" And she broke up with me.
Aww.
Yeah, so she broke up with me, and then I find out some shit that had happened throughout the relationship. Called her out about it. She blocks me. A week later, I get a text from a friend of mine who, mind you, she had this brow business, I think, at the time, and I had put her on my like people. Like they were like going like to her for all this stuff, you know. So they were all following her and stuff, and I was blocked, so I couldn't see anything that was going on. I get a text from my friend, and she's like, "Hey, are you and what's her name still together?" And I was like, "No, why?" And she was like, "I kind of want to send this to you, but like, are you good?" And I was like, "Yeah, like send it." And she sent me a screenshot of her post on Instagram, and she had just gotten married to her ex, like a week later. After breaking up with me,
she got married to him.
Married, like their friends were there and shit. Like it was
like at a wedding.
Like basically like a whole thing. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. And I was just like, what the just happened?
Wow.
Yeah. Crazy,
That's crazy. I actually do know someone, it was the other way around, like a girlfriend of mine who she was dating somebody. I mean, dating is a loose term because it was they were in a situationship or whatever. And, but for a long time, like she loved him.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh, we
she
said
didn't
it.
know he was cheating, nothing. And she found a registry,
Oh,
a wedding registry. That's how she found out he was engaged, had like a whole fiance, and like had a wedding coming up.
that's crazy.
Yeah. So as crazy as I want to say that is, it's not. I'm the first time I've heard it.
I guess it's not uncommon. I don't know.
But it is crazy. Wow. Yeah. Okay.
So that was before that other one.
So I can see why you want to be single for a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so Izzy had posted on his story asking his followers if they had some questions that they wanted to ask for him to answer today. So we're going to look at those and answer some of them. So the girls all have their icks. What are yours?
Girls who have icks. That's my ick. Honestly, it's a big ick. Like,
what do you mean by that?
it's just, I mean, it's like it's constantly going around. I don't know if it's like for real or not. Have you seen it? Like, there's lists.
Seen
Like,
some
there's
of
a
it.
guy. I think he has like an actual account based around girls who have icks.
Really?
So what he does is, you know how like when you say you have multiple windows, like things that you've been doing on your phone, and you swipe up or hold it or something like that, and then they kind of all pop up.
Oh yeah.
So the video is like, you know, someone talking about an ick, a woman talking about an ick, and then he'll open his windows and then go to like his notes and he'll scroll and it's like 547, don't breathe too loud or something like that. And it's just like a crazy amount of...
I did see a video of a girl one time that she like pulled out, like she had a shared note in her phone with her friend, where they would, when they would discover new icks, they would like add it to the shared note. And
That's
it
wild.
was like scrolling.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't have, I think bums, like lazy people, that's just in general.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's just like a character thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I can't really think of things. Maybe if you have like an ugly laugh. Maybe.
What's an ugly laugh? Now I'm self-conscious. I've been told I have a fake laugh. It sounds like it's not, like I'm fake laughing, but it's not fake.
No, you don't have an ugly laugh. I don't know. I mean, we would know. We would know if someone had an ugly laugh.
Wait, I'll cut it out because I don't want to get banned, but Harris. Have you heard her laugh?
Oh, no. I have not.
Look it up on YouTube. It'll just be like clip after clip after clip of her
Okay.
laughing. The worst laugh ever.
Yeah.
It's like just a hyena.
Yeah,
That's a
could
good
be-
one.
Yeah, it could be an ugly laugh.
Okay, what's a non-negotiable quality that you think is necessary in a partner? So like for me, that would be like faith. Like I would never date an atheist. Something that's like a hard, like absolutely not.
I don't know. I don't have anything else that I can think of. I mean,
Would you date someone with kids?
yeah, I have.
Okay. Would you date someone who doesn't want kids?
No.
Okay, so then that would be
Okay.
one. Yeah, you want kids.
Yeah, eventually I do. Yeah.
Okay, that's a good one.
Yeah.
What do you think about girls and social media? Would you prefer for her to not have one?
No. I mean, I don't care.
You don't care?
No.
Okay.
I don't care, but it also just like depends on the content, I guess. You know,
And what do you mean?
like, I don't know, too provocative, too like out there, you know? You know, I actually, I feel like I saw a video about something like this, and it was talking about how women always bring up how men like those photos of women that have provocative photos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he was saying that, like, yeah, we do, because we do, like, we find it attractive, we find the woman attractive or whatever, but we want to sleep with that girl. We don't want to, like, marry that girl. And so that should tell you kind of like, you know, for me,
Yeah.
you know, a guy that hopefully he's single. I mean, I know there's a lot of pieces of men who like women's regardless.
For sure.
But like, let's say me, for example, mind you, I don't do that though. I'm not the type of guy who, that's corny as I think.
To like.
To just go like liking everyone's all these girls' photos.
Oh yeah.
It's just dumb. Don't y'all talk about that? I feel like.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think for me, it's even more so like, who do you follow? Like, if you follow a bunch of random Instagram models, that's as far as I need to go. Because sometimes you can't see everything someone's liking.
Yeah.
But you can sometimes it'll show, you know, so and so liked this, but you can see who they follow, and like if they're just following a bunch of random hoes, then yeah, that's not somebody that I want to date.
That was a huge fight between me and my last girlfriend. The following thing. There was a girl who I found attractive when I was single, was still following her. Hadn't met her. I'd never met her before. She, I guess because I would post my ex, you know, while we were together, like she ended up following her, you know, because of her content and stuff like that. So the girl was following me, and then she ended up following her. And when she followed her, she saw that we were already following each other. And so she asked me, she was like, hey, who's this? And I was like, oh, it's just some girl that I followed like back in the day. And I'm assuming she went through her page like that, right?
Yeah, like someone who lived in Houston, or is this a random person?
Lived in Houston.
Okay.
She asked me who she was, and she would do this thing where she would, whenever someone would follow her, she would ask me if I've hooked up with them. Like, she'd be like, who is this? Have you hooked up with them? And like, I get it in a sense, but at the same time, it's like, I'm very big on, I'm not gonna ask because I don't want to know.
That's the way I am.
I just don't want to know, you know.
Yeah.
And I've started to understand that some people just either need to know or want to know. I'm not that person, unless it's literally like fucking, you know, like eating me alive and I need to know, you know.
Yeah.
But
there has to be some kind of boundaries.
There does. But yeah, she would ask me if I hooked up with her, and I was like no, and she kind of just like didn't believe me, and she kind of like spiraled and just you know, went off on me in a sense. They started bringing up the people that I follow and shit like that, and I was like, look, I have never done that. I've never gotten into a relationship and just went to my followers and I was like, unfollow. It's just something I don't think of doing. Like, those people are so irrelevant, you know? Like, when I'm in a relationship, I am 100% like committed. Like, there's no reason for, no one's forcing me to be in this. Like, you know what I mean? I don't have to, you know.
It's a slippery slope because I see both sides. Because from the woman's standpoint, it's like, why, if you're committed to me and you don't have eyes for anybody else, why do you want to see this person's life that you used to hook up with? Why is it still interesting to you? And that, especially if you feel insecure, that'll just feed your insecurity, or will like instigate insecurities, because then you start questioning yourself, like you're comparing or questioning, like, oh, I wonder what happened. Does he still have feelings for her? Like, it just starts to spiral in our minds.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we live in a world where we have social media, so it's like, what do you expect? Do you expect the guy you just started dating to go unfollow every single female? Like, that's not reasonable either.
Yeah.
I think, for me personally, I think the boundary should be when you get engaged. When you get engaged to be married, then it's time to unfollow.
Yeah.
Like, not unfollow all your girlfriends, but like unfollow your exes, unfollow the hoes. Like, that's just respect.
I agree. But I also think, you know, I think that mindset, like having an issue, like, first, that just seems like someone who, might be insecure and just has to deal with on their own.
Yeah.
Like, you're putting that on me. You know, you're just automatically assuming that first of all, why are you dating me if this is, you knew I was dating. It's not like these are all new followers. You went through my already, I guarantee.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
So, like, why are you bringing this up now? You should have
Yeah.
said something when we first started talking or whatever, that you have a problem with that. You know? You can't, 6 months in, you can't be like, well, who is this? Like,
But that's also, in the beginning, like, we would be afraid to say something like that. Because if you just met this girl, just started talking to her, and she's like, well, by the way, this is my expectation for your social media if we're going to be in a relationship. A lot of guys would be like, she's crazy.
Exactly. So like, stop wasting people's time and just be upfront.
Yeah.
Like, you think it's gonna be cool later down the line rather than like upfront. Like that's just how I am. I'm gonna tell you everything just from the jump. Like, you're not, that way you're not blindsided, or because then you're invested, and then now you got to deal with that shit because the emotions are stronger, and like the feelings and all that. Yeah, so it's just
that kind. I mean, just the conversation in and of itself like answers the question, because social media makes things so messy when it comes to dating.
Yeah, she ended up going through my iPad. This is actually before she asked me about my followers. She went
through your on your Instagram.
Mm-hmm, yeah, like through it's because my phone is connected to my iPad. And yeah, she
went through everything.
She went through it while I was sleeping, and I went to the gym, and she texted me, and she was like, because she had been questioning me for like a long time, and I was like, I'm not doing anything. Like, like, what sparked it was, I think it was a TikTok or some she saw, and it was like, should your like partner have your password or whatever? She asked me, she was like, would you give me your password? And I was like, no. I was like, you can see my phone, but why do you want to go on my phone and like just actively find something?
Yeah.
That's weird to me. I find it so weird that you have to explain why you want privacy in any form. It can be a conversation with me and my best friend, my best guy friend, that I don't want you to know, and it has nothing to do with other women or anything. It could literally be about whatever. But the fact that I have to sit there and explain to you that I want some privacy is crazy to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't understand it. And that's what she was fighting me on. And she was like, would you have some weird on there, like this and that, like trying to like just make me out to be a bad guy? And I'm like, no, I don't have anything weird on there. But I also don't feel like you should have access to all my You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe again, marriage.
Yeah,
I could see
marriage.
that.
I think so. Like my married friends that I look up to, what she says is they have access to each other's phones, like the Face ID, but she's not sitting there going through his phone every day.
Yeah.
It's for accountability.
Yeah, and that's what I told her. I was like, one of the main reasons I'm not cool with that is because if you feel like you actually have to go through my phone, then this relationship this is done. Like, we don't have.
But see, the argument for the women who think that would be, if the answer is no, I can't have access, then you have something to hide.
Exactly. But that's not on me though. And the fact that I have to sit there and defend myself is wild to me. That's what's crazy to me. You know what I mean? And that's why she went through my So while I was sleeping, she went through my iPad, and she said she went through my Instagram, my messages. I don't know. I'm pretty sure she went through my texts. And I've been telling her over and over and over. And all she has is my word, right? Because she doesn't have proof. But she didn't believe me. And she texted me while I was at the gym, and she was like, hey, like, we need to talk. And I was like, what's up? Obviously, I'm like, well, I'm just going to leave, because now now my workout's ruined. How am I going to work out now? So I leave, and I come home, and she's in the kitchen crying. And I'm like, what happened? What's up? And she was like, basically just saying, don't be mad, don't leave me, blah, 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 this and that.
Oh, she just confessed.
Yeah.
But she didn't find anything?
No, she didn't find She was like,
that's tough.
Yeah, she was like, honestly, I was surprised how you like responded to people. Like, you're just like very like straight to the point. I'm like, I told you. Like, people hit me up, and mind you, there's gonna be people who hard eyes things and like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, especially with like your platform and the artwork that you do. Yeah.
Open it. You don't have to react to it. People who say love your work, thank you, or double tap or something like that. You know what I mean? If you just sit there and ghost everybody, like, you're gonna seem like an asshole. No one's gonna want to with you.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
To engage for sure.
So like, for me, it's like, I don't know. I mean, she knew that I was like an artist. Like, she saw there's a lot of people who like support me and stuff, And so, I don't know. I guess it just got, there's certain things that she didn't like.
Yeah.
And yeah, she went through my stuff, and she didn't find anything. but I had told her, I was like, if you go through my I'm done. Like, but of course, I didn't end it. We fucking
That's
dated
very. I feel like there's a lot of like just boundary issues there.
Yeah.
Because even this might sound kind of messed up, but like even the fact that she confessed, I'm like, sometimes it's better to just like not say anything.
No, I'm glad she did.
I'm sure like for her conscience, but like that,
yeah,
I'm sure was like the beginning of the end.
It's hard to say because she like has some mental health issues, you know, and so like that was a first for me, and so like having to learn and then work around it and through it and stuff like that, it was like brand new to me, and so but I learned a fuckload from her, like a lot.
That's good.
Yeah, it was one of like the most healthiest relationships, but it was like, you know, at the end of it, it was like pretty clean breakup. Obviously, it was like she didn't want to end things, but it just had to be done. But like, yeah, I mean, it
makes me sad.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was sad, but it just, you know, we just didn't work out. So
yeah. So that kind of segues us into the topic, because you're talking about your artwork and how, I mean, that obviously is going to affect your dating life and like the people that choose to be with you and how that plays out. So, and a big part of that is money. I mean, that plays into every dating relationship, whether you have it or whether you don't. So the question is, does size of your bank account matter when it comes to dating? So what have you experienced? I know you have a lot of things you want to say, but what have you experienced when it comes to your finances and what women's expectations are for that?
I don't know. I've honestly never been approached by someone who is like that, who's like a gold digger or whatever.
Really? Okay.
I've never really had to deal with anything like that. You know, I'm pretty upfront.
Yeah.
You know, I know the topic of 50-50 comes up a lot. And I do post. I don't know.
So what are your thoughts on 50-50?
My thoughts are, I'm very like, I'm a giver. I'm gonna do what I need to do. It's one of the main reasons why I work so hard is because, well, I mean, it's just me right now, but I want to be able to provide for who I'm with. You know what I mean? Like, but there's a difference between someone who, before you're even with someone, or like you just an existing person and you're just like, you need to make X amount of money to with me. That to me is crazy. Like that's
what you said you want to provide for the person you're with. What do you mean when you say provide?
Just whatever I can do, like move into my house, or let's get a house, like you know, I don't expect, obviously I want you to work, just help. I don't know, just help. Like, you know, if do
you want to be the sole provider?
I want to pay for a majority of things. I don't know how that works, like the whole split thing, you know, but I feel like if I say that to the right woman, if I say I would like some help, she would be like, all right, cool, let's talk about it. I can cover this, you know, if, you know, I don't think that's a bad thing. I really don't.
To split bills, to split expenses.
To do something. Like, what are you working for exactly? That's one thing that we've talked about. How I've heard women talk about she says, his money is my money and my money is my money. I wish someone would say that to my face, like, or like, I don't go on dates, so like, but it, like, if
what does that say about women's expectations? What does that make you perceive that the expectation is?
I don't understand that mindset.
Yeah.
I really don't. I don't understand, like, who raised you? Like, how are you raised? And I think, honestly, I don't know. My thing is like, I feel like women like that have either they've been in two situations. They've either already dealt with that, like they've already been with a very wealthy man who provided everything for them. If they worked, it was cool, no questions asked, whatever, right? Or
spoiled.
Yeah, spoiled. Or they've been with a guy who never did it and maybe just was a bum and kind of like she was paying for him or whatever and she got tired of it.
Yeah.
You know, those are two things that I can see. And mind you, the ones that I hear stories about this, the guy who provides and pays for everything and gets you whatever you want. Why do I always hear about that guy cheating? It's always something about that guy that cheats. The woman that stays home, that does nothing, like that just literally is just, you know, a trophy wife almost. I've always heard about that guy, you know, cheating.
Yeah. See, I would say maybe it's just unhealthy in general, because I would say I hear about those women cheating because those are the women that are at home. They have no purpose. If they have no job, they're not working, just like the Pilates princess. And so for anybody sitting at home day in and day out, you're just waiting for your partner to come home. Like you're going to get bored. You're going to start to feel like neglected because you're alone all the time. You're not doing anything. That person comes home from work. Maybe they're tired. They're complaining. And for women, that's how they start to feel unappreciated and like not attended to. And then start looking elsewhere.
But imagine that, right? Imagine the woman who is asking the man to provide for everything, and then that guy is busting his ass to provide for you, which means he has to work a lot. And then you're telling me that she's feeling like he's not around enough, he's not spending enough time. Well, no, you want him to cover everything. And, you know, maybe if you chipped in a little bit, y'all would see each other more. You know what I mean?
That's true, yeah.
You can't ask for a man to provide this whole lifestyle for you and not expect him to, he's gonna have to work for it. Unless he's just well off or he's already like past the point where he's just making money, like,
I mean, trust fund, something like that.
Who knows, right? But that's the thing for like me, right? So like I'm not in a position to where I feel like I can offer, well, depending on who you are. I mean, I would never be with a girl who wants to vacation, you know, to do all these crazy shit. I don't even do that, you know. I already don't.
You don't like to travel?
I do like to travel. I just don't do it because I just like to work a lot, you know.
Okay.
It's hard for me to like step away. But I would just never be with someone who's like extremely bougie.
Like a trip every month kind of thing.
Yeah, I would like that, but I'm not in that position yet.
Not yet,
right?
yeah.
So, but let's just say I got into a relationship now and she was wanting that. If that's the case, I'm going to have to work a lot, you know? So you're telling me that if I'm sitting here busting my ass for a lifestyle that you're basically demanding, but at the same time, you're going to put it against me that I'm working so much, like pick one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Choose one. Same thing with like the gym. If you like how a man looks, he's in shape or whatever, but then you have an issue with him going to the gym 6 times a week, 2 hours a day, whatever, man, what do you want? Do you want someone who's in shape? Do you want, you know, what? It's almost like we can't win in a sense. You know what I'm saying? It's like you ask, we deliver, and then we're still falling short somewhere.
Yeah.
You know? So it's like, what is it?
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
I honestly haven't really looked at it from that way.
Yeah.
Like, it's like you do one thing and you can't satisfy her, so you do another thing, you can't satisfy her either.
Yeah.
So my question, follow up to that, is what do you think the expectation should be for women? So we know that it shouldn't be his money is my money and my money is my money. That basically means like you just want to be completely spoiled and sit on your ass and not contribute. I think most reasonable people would agree that that's not right. Now, that's like blasted all over social media right now. I mean, that is like what culture is like pushing on us, is to have these like just crazy expectations of like you should just be spoiled. That's the best word I can think of for it. But what do you think realistically the expectation should be for women when it comes to money?
I mean, I think when it comes down to it, I feel like the man, you know, if he's a man, he's gonna want to provide, and he's gonna do anything in his power to do that. So find you someone who almost like has it in them, because the thing is for me, for example, my income is very inconsistent. I'll never know. It will never be a certain number. It may go up, it may go down, but if you know me well enough, you know that if I have, I don't know, let's say a month, I'm gonna work twice as hard next month to make up for it, you know, or something like that. Find you somebody who has that drive, who's hardworking, you know, and don't base it around numbers. I feel like that's the issue, is that there's so many women who just like think with a number, and they're like, he has to make X dollars, like otherwise I'm not gonna consider him.
Yeah.
That's wild. Like that's so up.
So,
Like why are you leading with numbers and not with like your heart? You know what I'm saying? Like, do you
For
want
sure.
love, or do you want a ATM? Like, what is it? You know?
Right. This is something I've been like trying to contemplate leading up to this conversation, because again, I see both sides. So like, on our last episode, Kelsey made a comment of like, she provides a very comfortable lifestyle for herself. And in her mind, she wants someone who makes that dollar amount or more. Because in her eyes, she thinks, well, I'm providing this lifestyle for me. If someone else comes into the picture, then now there's two of us. So if he doesn't make that same amount or more, then I'm going to have to scale back on my lifestyle. So I get that, because you're like, it's a sacrifice that you would have to make for this guy. But at the same time, it is very like leading with money, you know, because then where do you draw the line? Like, what if you marry this guy who's making more than you as an entrepreneur or artist, and then business goes to shit, something happens, you get injured. I mean, anything can happen when you're a business owner. It's very risky. So then you're going to have to scale back. So then it's like, what happens then?
Yeah. So, and so think about that, right? So it's like, okay, I'm going to ask you, what do you want in a man?
Like in total?
Like general, like provide, protect.
Yeah, absolutely. A provider, a protector. For me, someone who's strong in their faith, someone who leads their relationship, that is a good father. Definitely someone who's a hard worker.
Okay, so let's say, and provider is big, right? I know it's big. It's big for women, and it should be. I get it. But imagine like if that part is like so high up on your list that something does happen, right? Mind you, we know, especially as business owners, we know the inconsistency of income, right? And we imagine in the back of our head, not only are we busting, like, are we being super hard on ourselves for not hitting a certain goal or getting that job or whatever. We're hard on ourselves already. But we also have to think about the fact that our girl may leave us for someone else who can provide a better lifestyle because we're not, and it's not even that we're not doing enough, because it could be a lot of factors, right? It could be the fact that, I don't know, I didn't get that mural because of something, or that because of something. I'm going to be hard on myself already, but now I have to think about the fact that, because there's always going to be someone who's better looking, who has more money, you know what I mean? And you're telling me that maybe all that it can come down to is like someone sliding in your DMs or something like that. You know what I mean? Let's say I have like a 3 months that I'm just like not doing so well. Doesn't mean that I can't get a big job the next month. But the last thing we want to think about is that she's going to find someone else elsewhere, because we can't provide that certain lifestyle or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I see how that is really like messing up the dating culture and messing up the way that men are viewing women, because if you're constantly through social media, through what you hear from your girlfriends or whatever, if you're constantly being inundated with this idea that women want someone who makes a ton of money, they're going after the rich guys, they have these really high expectations financially for the man, then most men are average. Not everybody's rich. Most people are not rich. So if you're a hardworking guy, whatever you do, whether you own your own business, whether you work in corporate America, whether you have a blue collar job, you know that you're average, you're middle class. So that's going to make the men, if I'm hearing you correctly, be less intrigued or have less of a desire to pursue women, because you're just going to be like, because men are logical, you're like looking at the odds and you're like, well, what I'm hearing, what I'm being brainwashed with is that women want something that I can't provide. And if I try, she might cheat on me, or she might leave me, or she might be unhappy, which is the worst case. Unhappy with my provision, which is like, that's like, just, you might as well castrate you as a man.
Yeah. And that's kind of what it is like, I don't shoot my shot. I don't even, like, we go to the bar, I see someone who's pretty or whatever, I'm not even gonna, I just saw her, that's it. Like,
why?
Because it's, for one, also another thing is just how women just bash men about trying, like you guys have group chats and y'all talk about men and stuff like that, and it's like,
y'all talk too, but yes,
maybe.
we do.
I mean, I don't have a group chat with anybody. I mean, yeah, we share music, like, literally, that's it. I mean, I don't do it for a couple of reasons. I don't do it because I'm not trying to date or whatever, so I'm not even gonna waste anybody's time. I'm sure some guys just feel like they might not be good enough for something like that, and so they don't even waste their time either.
Yeah, I mean, that can really like diminish a man's confidence, and like not just like one individual man, but like if that's the narrative that's out there, then single men as a whole are all just kind of be like, well, then I guess we'll just get our basic needs met and like just kind of stop there. And I could see the flip side too. If you're somebody who is really well off, but you're not looking for a gold digger, you're looking for a real wife, that also may make you not want to pursue women because you don't want to be taken advantage of either. If you think the women are leading with money, then you might be like, well, does she even really like me? Or is she just here for like what she thinks I have in my bank account and the clout?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what do you think about Kelsey's statement? Like, do you think that that's reasonable? I mean,
so that's what's interesting about that, right? Is that she said, remind me what she said again?
So she said that she wants a man who makes as much as she does, right? I'm just going to make up a number. She did not say this, but just for conversation, let's say she makes $150,000. So she wants to be with a guy who makes 150 or more, so that she doesn't have to scale back her lifestyle.
Now, okay, so is that only okay for a woman to say because the man is supposed to provide? Or can a guy be like, I make 150, I need her to be at 150 because of my lifestyle?
I can't say I've heard it that way.
Yeah. And you won't, because it's wrong, because the man is supposed to make the money, whatever, right?
Right.
But if a woman's making that much money and that's her expectation, why can't it be the other way around? Why does it matter how much you make if, like, so you're telling me, like, I get it. I do get it. I do understand it when it comes, when a woman is saying it, because I know that she has already provided, she can provide X amount of things for herself. So why would she want to go backwards, I guess? But now a guy could never say that.
Yeah.
A guy can never be like, I make 200K, so either match me or out of here.
Yeah.
Because then we're the asshole, we're the whatever you want to call us, you know what I mean? It's just, it's weird to me that's what I kind of mean, though.
Yeah.
Those expectations are I don't really get it, because it's just like, I can get it. I mean, maybe a certain number, but women are killing it, man. They're making a shit ton of money, and if you're basing it off of that, I don't know. You might be missing out on a good dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, obviously, I don't want to like shame people on certain jobs or whatever, but like, if you have a minimum wage job or something, like, I get it. Like, that's probably something, you got to find someone that's making decent money at least. Thing is, we've all been there. But at the same time, bro, it's like, that gives me the mindset sometimes when people think of themselves as who they are at the moment and they forget about how they got there.
Yeah.
Like, it gives me very much like, you're not respectful to the janitor or to like
stuck
you know,
up.
yeah, to like the cleaning lady and shit like that. It's like you got to understand that we've either been there or we're going through it. You know, we all want to end up there, but like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It is weird. I mean, it's weird, and I've talked about this many times. This is something that like our generation is sort of like navigating because it wasn't always this way. I mean, traditional roles was that the man went out and worked and provided for the family, and women stayed home and took care of the household and the children. That's like the traditional, you could say, biological like norm. But all of that is like getting flipped on its head. So it's like, okay, well, we're going to have to figure out what the new normal is because women are not going to stop working. There's always going to be some that probably don't, but that's not what we're seeing now, especially at this age. So I can see Kelsey's argument because it's like, we don't have to do this. Like, we don't have to be these like boss ladies and providers. Like, we could just stick with the old fashioned thing and just stay home. But it's like, at least maybe let me speak for myself. It's kind of like, I feel like culture in our society like pushed us out there to do that. And now we're doing it. And so we're like, all right, well, you made me do this. Now I'm doing it and I'm killing it. So if I'm going to let a man into my life, like, you better be able to match my level of whatever.
And I get both sides too. Honestly, I really do. But I also still think that, you know, a lot of the times the women that think that way seem to be single.
Yeah.
And it's like, why are y'all single? You know what I mean? Take a step back and just man, like, what kind of lifestyles are y'all trying to live though? That's what I don't get. Like, for me, it's like, and it might be because I'm a guy, so I don't really know how that goes. But if I meet a girl, like, the last thing I'm thinking about is how much money she makes.
Yeah.
You know, like, I want to have a conversation with you, see if you're cool, see what your plans are, what your goals are, like your ambition, like so many other things come into play before we even start talking about numbers.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't have a job, how long have you not had a job for? Why don't you have a job? All right, that's a red flag. Nope.
Yeah.
You know, but like, damn, dude, like, you know, it's almost flipped. It's almost like flipped for like men and women, right? It's like women sometimes seem to lead with, what does he do for work? How much money does he make? I don't know about the whole driving thing, like, what does he drive? But it's just like, we don't give a shit about that. You know, we don't care about that. I feel like y'all are so fed up with dealing with
Guys.
guys that y'all are like straight to the point.
Yeah.
You know? So
That's definitely part of it.
Yeah, I do kind of get it. I just don't really know what the solution would be behind that.
What you're saying is like, we shouldn't lead with money. Like, you know, do you want true love or do you want a sugar daddy? Okay. I would say for me personally, that's definitely how I've approached relationships. Haven't dated any like super rich guys. I would say I dated one that was pretty well off. That was a doctor, but I mean, he was no like superstar or anything like that. So let's say if we're not leading with money. So let's say I make 150K a year and I meet a guy who makes half of that. Let's say he makes 80. And we're not leading with money, but eventually that comes out, or maybe it's just kind of obvious with whatever his line of work is. And do you think that dynamic where the woman makes more than the man is going to have a negative effect on the relationship?
For the man or the woman?
Both.
I think it depends on who. It depends. Depends if the guy's insecure and has this like, I gotta be the man and provider, all this shit, and he just can't accept that she makes more. It also depends on if she throws it in his face, if like, I don't know, if she pays for more and he eventually has an issue with it. It depends on a lot of different things, but I mean, I don't think it like always will. I don't think it's like a deal breaker.
So how would it not? Because I feel like the man would have to be okay knowing that he's not the provider. Maybe he's in that case he would be contributing. But if she's making 150, technically she could take care of the both of them.
Yeah. It just really just depends on the man.
But is any man okay with knowing that?
There's got to be some. I mean, the thing is I mean, look, we're all dealt different cards. We, you know, can we change? Can we do better? Yeah, I guess. I mean, but I don't know. Let's say I'm passionate about one thing, and that one thing that I want to do, I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know, let's say she's the same way. Let's say he's capped at 80. You know, like teachers, for example, right?
Sure.
So you going into this relationship knowing these things, obviously, like you're gonna know by the time you start your committed relationship, you're gonna know these numbers. I'm sure you would have this conversation.
Yeah.
He can't come back around and say some later because, you know, y'all had that conversation or whatever. And at the same time, if I'm gonna sit there and at you because of, I don't know, because of I feel insecure or whatever, that's on me. I need to do better. I need to work harder. I need to find a different job or some you know what I'm saying?
Well, or just not be insecure.
Or that. That's what I mean. If you have an issue with it, then do better.
I think that's easier said than done. I do agree with you. But what I see is that in the beginning, it's like, okay, yeah, well, we'll just like adjust to this. Like she makes more than me, no big deal. That's cool. She's a boss or whatever. But I see where it slowly starts to like chip away at the relationship, because let's say she wants to do something or go on a trip or buy something and he can't. That's like, okay, that's gonna chip away at his pride. Or maybe she's making more of the financial decisions. Let's say it's a married couple and they're making financial decisions together, and at the end of the day, the person who makes more typically kind of has the final say, unless you really nail that down that like, okay, even though I make more, you're going to get to decide, make the final call, which maybe that exists. I don't know. And since, like you're saying, men do want to provide, that's a given. That's like just how you're wired. I feel like that starts to chip away at his pride as a man. And she's not doing anything wrong. She may not be throwing it in his face. It's just her, that's just who she is.
Yeah.
And it's like, so what do we do in that situation? You know,
Leave.
he just has to live with his.
You just leave. And that's probably what it is, right? That's why y'all mentioned money up front, because y'all are tired of wasting time with that.
Because I will say for me personally, that's something I'm trying to navigate through. I don't make any sort of buku money, but there are a lot of people who make less than I do that I have dated. And I see that in the relationship where it's like, it just starts to become like, there's a moment where like you feel the dynamic shift and you realize like, oh, he's intimidated or he's insecure by this. And then there's really no coming back from that. Because what are you going to do? Console him? It's okay that you make less than me. Like, that's just going to make it worse. And so it's like, okay, I kind of feel like maybe I should be going after guys who make more, who like make a lot of money. Because then it's like, you're safe. Like, you know for sure he's not going to be insecure about that.
Yeah. No,
But then you sound shallow because you're like, well, this is my first sort of like box that I want to check. But it's like, how can that be your first? That's so shallow.
Yeah, I mean, I get where you're coming from. And when you explain it like that, it makes sense. It really does. No one wants to waste their time. The ones that I'm really speaking on are the ones who just, it's more of like a super high expectation. Like, it's almost like you can't even talk to me without making this much money, or, you know, and it's like that is crazy to me. But for you to want someone who, you know, is driven and hardworking and, you know, make some good money, and, you know, that way you guys can travel together and, you know, whatever. I don't think it's bad. I think it's the way you
it's almost like it's the why. Like, why is that important to you? You know, if you're a woman that is looking for someone who makes X amount, high dollar, it's like, why? Is it because of what I just explained, where you want to keep that balance of masculine, feminine energy? Or is it because you want a sugar daddy? or you feel so entitled that.
Well, it's the way you. I mean, I think it's the way you deliver it.
Okay, so I know you're talking about like there's like this certain type of woman that you're referring to that kind of like instigated you wanting to do this topic.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna play some clips of these type of women that are things up for us.
I don't like 50-50. I don't do coffee dates. I don't care how much money I ever make. I still want my man to pay for everything. He should pick me up. He should drop me off. He should buy me Ubers. In exchange, he gets to not embarrass me and breathe my air. I think it's pretty fair. I think we're even Stevens. Otherwise, I don't need a man just to have a man. This is for me. For the guys who are mad, though, cry about it.
This is on TikTok. This is a girl named Fleeksy. We'll go ahead and tag her and just see what happens. But the part for me about this, I don't agree with anything she's saying, just for the record, is when she goes, "This is for me." Like, so what about him?
Mm-hmm. You know what's wild about that is I don't know who the that girl is.
Me neither.
I don't know who she is, right? So there's women who,
I will say she looks young. She's definitely in her 20s.
Yeah, there's women who just are like existing and have this mindset, right? Like breathe the same air as you and
Yeah,
shit.
she says in exchange you get to breathe my air.
Yeah, crazy. So mind you, I don't know who, like imagine if she were to say this to me, right? And I'm just like, literally, I'd be like, who are you? Like, what do you mean? Like, why do I owe you X amount of things? Because for you, just to speak to you, just to be around you, like me not knowing who you are says a fuckload, right? Mm-hmm. Imagine someone that we do know. Who do we know that's really fucking hot? I don't know. Let's say Megan Fox, right?
Okay.
If Megan Fox said that, I'd be like, you're right. You know, I'd be like, you know what? You're right.
Yeah.
But the fact that, and we know her. We know what she's done. She's hardworking. She's a movie star. She's
I'm not going to hype her up. I have my reservations. But
okay,
I
well,
get what
let's
you're
just
saying.
anyone.
Yeah.
Jennifer Aniston, because I love her.
Yeah, everybody loves her.
Boom.
Yeah.
She says that, right? I'm just like, dude, absolutely. You know? Us knowing who she is and what she does and how hard she works and what she's been in, all that, right?
Yeah.
Fair. But some random and mind you, Jennifer Aniston would never, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like,
why do you think that you deserve that?
Why do you think you deserve that? Let's just say you make $2 million a year. I don't know. But still, who the are you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, I think what happens and what has happened is like this, the whole thing with like self-worth, like we all deserve love. We all deserve this stuff, which is very accurate. Mm-hmm. But it's been twisted and turned into some weird shit where it's like, yeah, where it's like,
I love myself so much that I'm entitled to anything.
Yeah, like I don't walk around. I've done cool shit in my career and stuff like that. I don't walk around with like thinking that way. You know what I mean? That's what I mean. That type of person kind of like tells me that they're rude to servers, or you know they probably tip or they're that type of mindset. That's what gives that energy gives off of.
Yeah.
You know, humble yourself, dude.
I will say something that I hear in what she's saying. I'm gonna make just a wild guess. I don't know this girl, but if it's true, it's relatable to a lot of women, in that she probably has been treated poorly by a man or men. That could be her father, that could be relatives, that could be lack thereof a father, that could be other men she's dated. And she has gone so far to the other extreme because she wants to stay as far away as possible from that pain. Mm-hmm. So somebody didn't treat her right, didn't treat her like a lady. Somebody didn't buy her Ubers and pick her up. Mm-hmm. Because those things are reasonable requests. That should be done. Mm-hmm. But somebody didn't do that for her, so she's going so far as to say, if you even want to breathe my air, you need to basically kiss the ground that I walk on. And that's not right either. But that's coming from somewhere. You know, nobody just wakes up like that. She was either taught that or she learned that from whatever she's gone through. Or, you know, she's just doing it for her TikTok.
Yeah. That's,
she may not even believe what she's saying.
That's the problem nowadays is that, you know, you see a lot of videos and you don't even know what the fuck's real or not. You know what I mean?
Well, and here's the problem is the comments. So I'm going to read some of the comments because I would think when I saw this, surely she's getting eaten alive, right? If everybody's saying what we're saying. No, people agree with her. So in the comments, somebody said, I have the exact same standards, drizzle, drizzle. What does drizzle, drizzle mean? I keep hearing that.
I don't know. I just started seeing that when I started to look at that.
Yeah. I don't know what that means. But, I mean, you have people in here saying, period says, if my dad could do this for my mom, there's no reason I can't have it for myself. Facts. Let's never settle. Right. I grew up in a household where my dad paid for everything. That was a shared account. My mother's account was only hers.
See,
I have a hard time believing that.
See, for stuff like that, I don't find an issue with that.
But there are some haters. Single with 5 cats. The daily reminder to stay single. Those are from guys.
Yeah. I don't see, the thing is people are also born, they're raised differently.
Yeah.
You know, if you're raised, I have a friend who is pretty much like that. The dad is wealthy. He makes a lot of money. The mom, she was kind of like volunteering / teaching a little bit, but like wasn't really working much, kind of stay at home. Mm-hmm. And she is, I don't know if she's going to see this, but is kind of the same way. So she went to college, met someone, he's an engineer, they got married, but she was cool with just coasting, just chilling, let him do all the work.
So do those people have kids?
Now they do.
Okay. Does she take care of the kids?
We kind of don't talk too much anymore, but like, I mean, yeah. Like,
okay.
I don't know if she is, because she was teaching for a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's still doing that, but I know it wasn't like a regular teaching job. It was like the hours were very minimum.
Part-time or something.
Yeah, something like that. So she was already, before they had kids, she wasn't working a lot. And so she's probably just stay at home now.
So here's where like definitions are really important, because when you say 50-50, what does that mean? Because what it should mean is bringing 50-50 as far as value to the relationship. That's not always a dollar amount. Mm-hmm. So like your friend could be in your eyes doing nothing, like bare minimum, but maybe she brings a lot of value to his life. So, I mean, especially if you're a mom, that's a full-time job. Like any mom will say that's the hardest job they've ever had.
What about before that?
Before that, I'm not sure. I mean, if she's taking care of the house, if she's cooking all his meals, like, you know how hard it is to work full-time and cook, meal prep, work out. Like, if she has all that done for him, if she does all his laundry, if, you know, whatever special requests he have. I don't know. Maybe he wants a back rub every night.
I do agree.
Having sex with him every night. I mean, you know, things that are like wifely duties.
First of all, don't throw that in the list. That's up.
I'm just saying.
Don't do us you're like, I'm doing you a favor. I'm sleeping with you.
Not a favor, but that is valuable. That's bringing value to his life that he would not have without her. It'd be him and his hand at night.
Sometimes.
I mean, you can, as a woman, you can bring value. That's my point. You can bring value to a relationship without working.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, see, I don't know. I can't be with someone that's like that, though. Because I feel like I bring value regardless. I bring value and I'm working. Like, you know, I just can't. So my ex, hard worker, a go-getter, had her own company. Like, I'm talking about, like, she was doing it. Mm-hmm. You know, I was there, not from the startup, but very, very, very early on stages. And, yeah, I would see, like, I mean, she would bust her ass, like, I would bust, you know, we were constantly just working and and the conversations that we would have, she would ask me for advice. I would ask her for advice. Like, that's the type of relationship that I want. I want to be able to to relate to like the issue you're having with your company because I've probably been there.
Yeah.
And maybe I can help you, you know, or vice versa. You know what I mean? I don't want to come home every night and be like, guess what? I just got this big ass commission. And then it's just, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. Like, I want to be able to say it to you as well. That's like what I'm looking for. When we have kids, take all the time you need, stay home. But I want you to be itching to work, you know? Like, I want someone who's a go-getter. It's very attractive to me.
Do you think that would change once you have kids? Like, because let's say she's go-getter, she works hard, she has all these responsibilities. By the time you have kids, she has a company, she has people depending on her, and then she doesn't have time to raise the kids. So a nanny raises your kids. Are you okay with that, or would you prefer that she doesn't work until the kids are like in school?
Well, that's what I mean. Like, take all the time you need. You know what I mean? Like stay home if you want.
But what's your preference?
Whatever she wants. Whatever she wants.
So at that point, it wouldn't bother you that she stays home and doesn't work.
No, but that's why, you know, that's why I feel like I want to be ready for that, right? So like, I want to be able to have enough money to where, you know, and they always say you're never going to be ready or whatever, but I feel like you can, at least financially. You can try to be ready, you know. But yeah, I want to be able to continue living the lifestyle that we've been living, and you're not working, you know, you're staying home with the kids and stuff like that. And I definitely wouldn't mind, you know. I mean, I don't think it needs to last. I mean, I don't know how long, you know, moms usually do it. I know it's a couple years, but
so let me explain it this way, because here's where I see like guys and maybe women too aren't like thinking really far into the future. Probably more so guys, because we're the ones that actually like have the children. But so if I'm like hustling, I have my companies, you know, I'm doing all these things, let's say in my 20s and my early 30s, to like work hard or climb the ladder, whatever it may be. We meet, you like that about me. You're like, yes, she matches my energy. Like, our conversations are awesome because we both have the same vision, blah, blah, blah. We get married, and then we want to have a family. And so the kids come into the picture. We both love our careers. Who's going to raise the kids? And who's going to quit the job?
we can talk about it.
So that's where women feel like sometimes we can't win, because you have guys who say, well, I don't want someone else to raise my kids. I don't want the nanny or the grandma to raise my kids. I want my wife to raise them. That's why I chose her, because she'll be a good mom. But if she's out there working, then that defeats the whole purpose of marrying her, or half of the purpose, if I chose her because she's going to be a good mom. So it's like, okay, so then maybe we need to step back and just be in our feminine energy and like present ourselves to men as just this really good and reliable wife and mother. But then guys say that's unattractive, you're lazy, and you're just gold digging. So it's like, for us, it puts us in a position of, how can I know for sure that he's going to be there, whether I'm hustling or whether I'm in my pajamas for 6 years until my kids are in kindergarten.
Look, I feel like all this stuff it comes down to just having clear communication with somebody.
Yeah.
If there's things that if there's something that you want to know, like, all these things should be addressed before you even start dating, like officially committed with someone, you know, like boyfriend, girlfriend. Talk about all this talk about it all, you know. If someone switches up, I mean, obviously people change and whatnot, you know, that's something that you can't really help. But if you fail to ask that question, and then down the line it comes up and you're just like, well, I didn't know you were like this. Well, just something that we didn't cover, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't understand why it's so overcomplicated.
I mean, there's a lot of reasons it's overcomplicated, but I completely agree with what you're saying. I mean, and that's like part of my whole vision for the show, is like having these conversations, because it really does come down to communication. I mean, look at what we're talking about. All of this whole problem, this whole topic is like not even coming from our own minds. it's coming from outside sources. It's coming from other people having bad experiences, or social media, TikTok, Hollywood, like that tells us this story that we then believe. And then if you actually go out and talk to people, they're like, no.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some people, yes, but even like back to Kelsey's thing, I asked her, like, well, so what if you met a guy that you really liked and he made a lot less than you? Like, she said she would still entertain it.
Mm-hmm.
So like the reality is like, yeah, that might be my preference to be with someone who makes more than me, but that shouldn't be like disqualifying him, unless he's just like a bum, like you were saying.
For sure. But yeah, like imagine, you know, a woman who just doesn't want to do anything. Like she just wants to be the girlfriend, be the wife.
Mm-hmm. I mean, to each their own, obviously, but like some people are just really simple. I mean, there are some simple women who just like their goal is to be a mom.
But that's not really simple to me, because you're existing. You're existing.
Yeah.
But then you're also wanting a rich man. So there is things you want. Mm-hmm. You just don't want to work for them. You want for it to be given to you. If that person that didn't want to work or do anything, and what comes with that? Being homeless. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't work and you know, you can't provide for yourself, you will be homeless. You will not have nice things.
Yeah.
So how do you just exist and expect the world? Like, you know, to me, that's a crazy expectation.
I think that's where, and that's another saying online is like trad housewives. Have you heard that?
Mm-mm.
They're calling it trad, but it's short for like traditional.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like these women who want to go back to being like trad wives, traditional wives. But like I was saying earlier, this is something that our generation is going to have to like navigate through and like create a new norm or a new like understanding between men and women, because back in the day when women didn't really work, you got married for completely different reasons. You got married almost for like a financial agreement. I mean, it was almost like a business decision. Like, okay, yes, I'm going to go out and work and do this and provide, and you're going to do this. And that was the marriage.
Yeah.
But now that we have so much more opportunity, that's just not the case. So like you're saying, if women are working and we're going to have money, then that goes in the pot. Like that's a contribution. You don't get to just have your cake and eat it too. You don't get to make $150 a year, keep it to yourself, and be trad wife.
Yeah, I mean, if for any business person, like any logical business person, when you have two incomes, obviously you make it into one, it's a lot more. Mm-hmm. So like, I just don't understand. Like, and I hate that it becomes like, it becomes a 50-50 thing, like that mindset.
Yeah.
To me,
I want to play this clip really quick because it's like right on par with where we are. It's the same girl. This is the same girl talking, and I guess she had gotten maybe some backlash for her things that she says. Her voice just
I know there's always
pisses me
going to be
off.
some backlash whenever I make like an anti-50-50 post, like when it comes to my standards in dating, which is like not the reason why I've stopped doing them. It's just because the content doesn't change from message to message, and there's only so much I can say before it becomes redundant. But what blows my mind is that there's always a handful of women in the audience who go down in the comment section to agree with the men. But the women are coming from the place of like, oh, that's not right. That's not good. That's not even. That's not fair. And then the men are coming from a place of, you think you deserve that. You think you deserve anything, period. It's like they're trying to advocate on the side of like what's fair and righteous and just, which normally would be the case, which is normally what I used to feel too. But when you realize that the people who don't want that for you are people who quite literally don't even think that you're worth anything, yeah, babe. Who are you getting brownie points for making those comments in my comments? Those guys? You on team them? On team. I don't care what team you're on. By the way, just so you guys know, I can see who likes the comments. I will say F a fan if I see you liking a hate comment. You will get blocked along with the person who made the comment. I don't care. Welcome to my community. I'm a dictator. To the ones who don't do that though, no effing you guys. It's all.
Okay, so she's mad at people that go in the comments on her anti-50-50 posts. She's anti-50-50. And she's mad at the women for agreeing with men who say this is not fair, this is not right, this is not just. That blows my mind, because you as a woman are out here declaring, screaming from the rooftops what you think we deserve or you deserve, and then getting mad at the women who are actually defending the men that you want to be with. You're getting mad at the women who are defending men, and you're sitting here declaring that men should do this and should do that for you.
Yeah.
Like, and she's like, I'm a dictator. And then this comment says, yeah, it's so weird. I speak to a lot of guys about the innate worth of personhood, and they can only conceptualize worth monetarily. It's sad. So the innate worth of personhood, I love the way she speaks, great words, but that's what you're getting at. Is like your existence doesn't bring value to a relationship.
So that's the thing. So right.
Same goes for the men.
Yeah, it does. So for the women who want to just be pretty and not bring anything, like what do you bring exactly besides just the fact that you're attractive?
Right. If that.
How many more other attractive women are there that are just like that? So that's honestly why I think the men that go for women like that, they're easy to spot, almost because, like, I don't know if those women come to them or what, but it's like, I think that's where the whole cheating stuff starts to happen.
Well, I can see that, because the type of man that's going to go after somebody like her is so vastly insecure that he can only find worth in how much money he makes.
Yep.
So if this is a rich man that's all he has going for him, then yeah, he's gonna want somebody who toots his horn, somebody who's after that, because that's what he thinks he brings to the table. But how many women can he get? That's infinite. You know, that's the guy in the club that's paying for a section, and he's in there by himself with 3 bottles of tequila waiting for women to come.
Yeah.
And then maybe he has sex that night, maybe not. It doesn't really matter to him, because the fact that he could pay for all that and get all these women to flock to him was what stroked his ego for the night.
Yeah.
So of course he's going to cheat, because he's going to go do that again over and over and over. There is no limit to the amount of women that will flock after him to buy them a Chanel bag.
Yeah, exactly. Versus the woman who, you know, had this one conversation with you, you guys shared music, you guys had certain experiences together that doesn't have to do with money, you know, just different things. You know, it's like when you have something that's worth something, you like, that just like sounds up to say, but they just seem disposable.
Yeah.
They seem like you know, you can find another one who thinks that way. But yeah, I mean, same thing for guys too.
Yeah.
But
when your value is in like being you, like you don't need to try to be this and that. And that can be really hard when you're like, in a sense, like competing in the dating world, and you're like, what do guys want? How can I be that? How can I compete with all these other women? But like at the end of the day, your value is in your uniqueness and like just being you.
Yeah.
So something that I also wanted to ask you, like on the topic of money, I hear a lot from guys, particularly younger guys, that say like they want to wait until they're financially stable to settle down, to get in a relationship, to get married. They want to wait until whatever arbitrary number they have in their head to then feel ready. quote ready. Do you think that men should be doing that? Because we're sitting here talking about you shouldn't be leading with money.
That's what I just mentioned. I was talking about that. I think that, yeah.
So let's use like you, for example. Like as an artist, when you first started on your own, I'm sure, you know, you start from the bottom. Like you have to start somewhere, not making a lot of money. Would you have felt like if you were with the love of your life at that time that you could go ahead and settle down and get married?
Yeah. I mean, I would assume that the person that I had chosen at the moment would be cool with where I was at, and we would just, you know, grow, I guess. So yeah, you know, if that's what I mean. For me, kind of like, for me, it's more like kids. Kids is something that I want to be financially comfortable with.
Right. I think the reason I asked the question is because I'm curious if like this perceived financial inadequacy that we're breeding in men, single men, if that is ultimately hurting us. Like if we're shooting ourselves in the foot, because then they're thinking, well, I need to make a little bit more. I need to be a little bit more successful. I need to get to this point in my life before I can pursue a woman seriously. So then you have all these men who are like in the back of their head, I'm not financially adequate to be in the position to pursue someone with the intent of commitment. So I'm just going to f around.
Yeah, I mean, it could be something that's happening. I could see why.
Yeah. So I want to ask you our closing question that I ask pretty much every guest, which is, what is your biggest regret in your dating past?
I don't know. That's like a hard question to answer, because even for like my art career, I always, I think everything happens for a reason. Like I've learned a ton from every relationship. You know, same with like my art career. You know, I wasn't full time until I was 30 or 31. So, you know, it hasn't been that long. I've only been full time for 4 years. And to some women, like I was bar backing at 30 years old. Like I was not even the bartender, I was the bar back. You know, the bartenders were 23, 24, making so much more money than I was. I'd work like 7 hours.
That's crazy. How much can change in 5 years?
Yeah. I was making like I'd walk out sometimes with like $40, like working 7 hours and I was in hair school at the time. So I'd like go to school from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and then go to the bar from like 8 to like 2, 3 in the morning and walk out with like $40.
Wow.
And so that was me. I'm sitting there washing dishes and shit, you know what I'm saying? So like, I've always been cool with who I was and where I was at that time in my life. And I've had girlfriends throughout all that, you know? Like, so again, like I think like the women that I attract are like the genuine, like, you know, and, but yeah, I mean, I learned from it. Like, I'm not pissed that it took so long for me to be full time as like an artist, you know. I've gotten in trouble and with like the law and stuff. Like, there's a lot of things that have happened that have put me, like, it happened at the right time. If I would have became a full time artist when I was 25, I would have it up, you know.
Yeah.
I was party mode. Like, I was still just going crazy. Like,
yeah.
I wouldn't have appreciated it. I wouldn't have taken it seriously. And so, like, with relationships, you know, they suck if they end, depending on how they end or whatever, you know, but you learn from it.
Is there anything that you can think of that stands out in your mind that you would definitely do differently? Not necessarily regret, but like in your dating past, something that you would now approach completely differently.
Yeah, so with my last ex, one thing that she broke me out of this shell I was terrible at communication, like so bad. Like it, but she would like put me on the spot and she forced me to like talk. You know, the most uncomfortable thing ever. You know what I mean? I couldn't even look at her in the eyes when I talked. Like I had to just like, I just couldn't. You know, it was just such a thing that I wasn't used to. And like accountability, I'm cool with. I could do that. It was just talking through problems. You know, like it was just like, I don't know what it was, but it was just so difficult for me to do.
Like the confrontation.
Yeah, like just like speaking about how I felt, you know, like why it bugged me and just stuff like that, just breaking it down, you know what I mean? And just talking through the issue.
Yeah.
I had such a problem with that because what I would do is just, like, let's say what I was used to is like someone me over and me just being like, all right, like now I know that you did that. You're that type of person. I won't with you anymore. Like I'm just gonna put that behind me, essentially. But it was just sweeping it under the rug, you know. And eventually, like, it would all, like, it would just tip over. Essentially, like it would just all come out.
Yeah.
And that's not healthy,
Right.
you know. So, what I learned from her was to just, and it didn't have to be right away. Like it would just, but she would tell me that. She'd be like, "Look, we don't have to talk about it right now, but we're gonna talk about it."
Yeah.
You know, and you know, obviously in the very beginning, like whenever she would make me do that, it was like such an uncomfortable feeling and like that. And then like time would pass, we'd have an issue. I couldn't wait to talk about stuff because I knew how I felt afterwards. It's like the most, like, it's hard to explain. It's like you just, everything's better. Like, you know what I mean?
Relieved?
Yeah, relieved.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, basically to answer your question is, I wish my communication skills were better.
Yeah.
You
But
know?
now you know.
Yeah. That's why, you know, that was like a really, really good relationship for me.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on. I think you're a really great, your communication's great, by the way. I'm going to compliment you on that. I think you've done a really good job expressing yourself.
Thank you.
And I hope that Izzy has brought a lot of value to you guys today. And hopefully we'll maybe see you again.
For sure.
Yes. That's what he said.
Thank you all so much for tuning in to today's episode of That's What He Said. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, and I hope you're taking away something valuable that will benefit your dating life. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please give this show a follow, rate, and review. And if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe, like this video, and most importantly, comment below because I want to hear what you said. See you next time. Thank you.